Yeah, so welcome back to Unsigned Berlin. We're sat today not with artists, but with the technical side of immersive audio. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves, what you do, what your role is at Dolby and at Genelec?
Yeah, so I work at Dolby for 12 years now, actually, and I work in the Dolby Atmos music team. And my job is to have the connection to the content creators. So I work mostly with sound studios, with mixing engineers, producers, but also with the more commercial side of things, like handling the relation to people like Apple Music, Amazon Music, Universal, and Warner here in Germany. So kind of involved in the whole value chain of Dolby Atmos music production.
Mm-hmm.
My name's Eric. I work for Genelec as a business development manager, and I'm also like an immersive audio specialist, because next to Genelec I also run my own Dolby Atmos music studio, and I've done quite a couple of mixes. But mainly what I do is I'm consulting studios who want to go immersive in terms of speaker choice and placement. I also do a lot of workshops in how to basically also use the creative Dolby Atmos tools in a Genelec environment. Obviously, it's a good synergy between the two brands, I think, and what we're also showcasing here, hopefully today.
Nice. So you're really more creator side than consumer side in terms of people listening to it and not making or not. For both of you.
Well, I mean, Genelec is actually both. So of course, our biggest market is in the studio market, where people are creating and crafting music and movies and things. But obviously, you can also, I mean, there's no downside in using Genelec in your home studio as well, you know, or in your home listening environment, in your hi-fi environment. So we actually cover both. But yes, the majority is definitely the studio side of things.
Yeah, I feel like in the mid-2000s, there was a big thing of like, oh, you can have your surround system at home for movies and stuff like that. And then it died away a little bit because it wasn't super accessible. And now I'm feeling it's starting to come back. You see Dolby a lot on Apple Music with the immersive mixes and everything. Do you feel like there's been a big change in the technology since then that makes it more accessible for the consumer?
Yeah, I think this was really the idea of Dolby Atmos. When we started with Dolby Atmos, and tried to bring it to the home listening environment, to living rooms and into the pockets of people. The main focus was to make it accessible, because otherwise the format wouldn't fly. If people would always need to make a lot of wires and cables and drill holes into their ceiling, then the thing wouldn't fly, and we probably wouldn't be sitting here and talk. So there was always the idea, how can you make that magic of immersive audio but make it accessible? One way that this is achieved today is through smart speakers. So things like Sonos speakers, where you can have multiple speakers that connect to each other through Wi-Fi, so you don't have to make like a single cable. Right. And then they actually is more than, it's one speaker, but actually physically inside is multiple speakers. So it fires to the top, to the side, to the front, creating reflections. And this way you can create a very immersive sound field without many speakers and without having to draw any cables and drill any holes. And this was actually one very important way to get immersive sound into living rooms. Then recently we started engaging with car manufacturers. Again, a perfect listening environment for immersive audio, right? It's a lot of speakers around you and you have time to listen to music and podcasts. So that's one way. And then, of course, there is headphones. So Dolby Atmos is also available through any headphones, which is, of course, the most accessible thing you can imagine, because everybody has a smartphone and headphones. So this is one way that Apple Music is bringing the content to consumers. So between all of these things, smartphones, smart speakers, cars, and of course the occasional home theater enthusiasts, we are actually able to reach quite a large number of people.
Yeah. And for the creators that are not yet involved with immersive audio, what do you feel like the benefit is for them getting involved with it? Because obviously stereo is super accessible. Everyone has a set of headphones you can get them for €8, but not so many people are listening in immersive audio, apart from maybe cars. Are there any other advantages to getting involved with it, apart from it just sounds better if you can?
No, I mean, I think really the idea is that actually a lot of people can listen to it now. I mean, many people are listening on headphones, on smart speakers and in cars, and these are areas where Atmos is actually growing quite rapidly.
Right.
So I think if you mix your track in Atmos now, many people will be able to listen to it now, and even more will do this in the coming years. I mean, you probably not only mix your song for the next couple of weeks. So that's, I think, one thing. The other thing is, of course, it's a lot of fun to work there. It's a new creative medium to explore, and many people do it mostly in the beginning because it interests them, it's fun for them, and then they look at the business prospects, right?
Yeah.
So this is, of course, also something.
But I think it's from a creative point of view for an artist, what is great to work in immersive audio that you can actually drag your audience right into your piece. And this is an experience you couldn't have with stereo. It doesn't work that way. So you can really kind of immerse your audience, as the word immerse already says. So it opens up completely new creative ways of how to transport your emotions. Because at the end of the day, that's what you want as an artist, as a producer, is telling a story, transporting emotions, and with having an immersive format such as Dolby Atmos, that really, really helps this. But on the business case, I wanted to add that, I mean, per day, there are hundreds of thousands of songs being published on different streaming services. But not all of them are Atmos, of course. So at the moment, it's actually still a very good time to stick through the masses when you do it in Atmos. Right. So you have easier access to playlisting, for instance, which is a crucial thing. Because at some point you also have to get back the money that you invest into a mix, and this only happens when you get played. So that's why I think that's a very important topic. And whatever comes next is just, I mean, as David said, right now we're working on the content, and it's good also to do it in Atmos now. I don't know if you in 5 years would go back into your recent catalog and open up again the songs. You know, do it while the project is hot. And why you still eat the soup, more or less, and you're gonna benefit from this in the future, definitely.
Yeah, I think the idea a lot of people have when they see immersive audio is becoming a thing is like, oh, this is the way that stereo kind of replaced mono to a large extent. Oh, this is going to replace stereo. But I was sat here where you have the full setup, and I get the feeling that you're sort of in the music, whereas stereo, I feel more like the music's in me, if that makes sense, if I'm listening on headphones. What are your kind of thoughts on that? Do you feel like the really long-term, 10 years, 20 years, is a replacement for stereo or targeted at a different experience entirely?
I think it's a how I see it today is actually Dolby Atmos is a very high-quality premium add-on to existing stereo distribution. Right. There are technical limitations in distributing music in certain aspects, such as like regular radio, linear TV, some of these things. And honestly, here in Europe and in the Western world, basically, this is a first world problem. We have millions of kind of locations where mono is still the thing. Right. So we're far away from replacing stereo. I think it's going to be a second add-on to a stereo. And it's a second distribution path with a high-quality premium content add-on that you can do. And that's basically what I think.
But what we actually feel is, I mean, of course, you still need to deliver stereo. And as Eric said, there are things where you need to deliver stereo for probably forever. Yeah. Because of like the old kitchen radio and whatever you have there, right? And what Eric said, these people that probably still listen on old mono
or a lot
cassette
of
players,
like whatever. When I go out with friends, it's a lot of speakers, mono speakers.
Yeah, exactly. Or the people that just have the speakers built into their smartphone and listen to it on the table or whatever. So there probably exist cases where people just want to hear some kind of music. But I think that definitely the footprint of devices that give you an immersive experience will grow a lot. Yeah. This is really what we also experience. I mean, Sonos were like the first big brand that was pushing there, but we also started engaging, for example, with JBL. The first JBL boombox now supports Dolby Atmos, so it really gets into different devices.
And for both of you guys, what sets Dolby apart in terms of this, and Genelec apart? Because there's other companies doing similar things, and Dolby is, a lot of people will think of it because it's on all the cinemas and it's for creators, it's very accessible compared to the other companies, but what are they providing that's different to the other companies?
I mean, I'm probably going to answer in terms of Dolby and you answer for Genelec, right? I will. So in terms of Dolby, actually, Dolby Atmos has become the leader in terms of immersive audio because we have by far the most advanced production tools. So Dolby Atmos is built into all the common audio workstations in Logic, in Cubase, in Pro Tools. So it's very easy to start producing in Dolby Atmos. That's why a lot of the content, when people do immersive, they do it in Atmos, right? And of course, we are also the market leader in terms of playback devices, in terms of accessibility to services. So it's currently, we are in a good spot there. And I think the reason behind it is really that we have an end-to-end solution. There are content creation tools, there are reliable codecs, and there is a lot of services and a lot of playback devices.
Yeah. And with Genelec?
Well, in terms of Genelec, it's actually, I mean, there are many different speaker manufacturers that you can use in studio environments, but I think, in my personal opinion, the best fit for Dolby Atmos is Genelec because of a couple of different reasons. First of all, the technical design of our systems, it's very easy scalable. So that means depending on your budget, on your room sizes, and also on your application, are you just doing music, or are you doing big films, or are you doing post-production content? Because Atmos is seen in many different kind of environments. There is a Genelec speaker that serves you. So no matter what your budget is, no matter what your room size is, so that's a very crucial thing. Second thing is the most of our speakers, actually 5 not, but more than 30 of our models that we have in our portfolio, you can adapt them to the acoustic environment of the room. And this is very crucial for immersive sound formats such as Dolby Atmos. We're not having 2 speakers anymore in front of you shooting into the room. We might now have like 10, 12, 16 speakers hanging all around the room, interacting with the room acoustics. So it is so mandatory now to come up with a very good and high quality calibration technology that is built in our speakers. So you just use it, and that's very simple. And then it's very scalable. So if you today work in a very small environment of, I don't know, 15 square meters, and you decide to go for 10 speakers for an Atmos rig, then in 2 years you move out into a bigger flat or in a bigger studio where you need 16 speakers. It's very scalable. You just add the speakers into the system because we can calibrate up to 80 speakers.
And how accessible is that in terms of, from the creators, do you have to be ready to sit down and figure out how it works, or is it pretty much connect and then it will just run that and calculate the room size and everything?
So from my point of view, that I can answer this is from Genelec point of view. It is fairly simple because it is just a loudspeaker, you know, and there's no new loudspeaker basically. So because it's Atmos, so it doesn't matter. Our technology is the same. So you just connect it on analog or digital net audio connections. That's it. But if I can do a little advertisement for Genelec, we have actually a help desk email support where people can write to. I mean, it's immersive.helpdesk@genelec.com. And for any kind of technical question or speaker-related question, hey, my room is this and that size, which model shall I use? These kind of things. And then me and my team, actually, we're picking up these emails and answer them all and try to guide the people through the process of checking out what's the best model, what's the best listening distance, is there any kind of treatment in room acoustic that is needed, what are the infrastructural tools, so what sound card shall I use, what cabling, is it analog, digital, all these kind of different questions that people might have. We're able to answer it. And of course, we both David and I mean, we talk regularly, so we are pretty much aligned on each other's technology. So if you ping a question to David on Genelec or to me on Dolby, it will equally good be answered, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of from our side of things, so there is, of course, a learning curve for anybody who comes from stereo and suddenly wants to mix Dolby Atmos. It's a learning curve. It's about how to set up your room, where to put your speakers, right? This is something that you can actually also ask speaker manufacturers such as Genelec, because I don't know how many rooms did Genelec already do in Atmos. I mean, hundreds, maybe hundreds, maybe even more than 1,000. So they know a lot of that. But also in terms of what software do I need, what is my deliveries, where can people hear it, what music services are supported, all these kind of things. When I do a Netflix show in Dolby Atmos, what is different compared to 5.1? So there is a lot of questions that people might ask. So it's one of our main points of work is answering those questions. So we also have a good website starting point, basically. So I can also make a little advertising. It's actually a very simple address. It's dolby.com/music/create. It's very easy. It's a landing page where you can find a lot of tutorials, webinars, some stuff about room design, some stuff about getting started to actually connect your audio workstation in a way that it works in Dolby Atmos. And you will find, if you click through a little bit, you will find an onboarding form, which is a way that you can actually get in touch with us, also for some handholding support. So this is, from our side, a way that we try to navigate people to get in touch with us and ask questions.
Yeah, nice. And I mean, I should probably let you guys get back to doing the showcases and everything. But for people who haven't heard an immersive mix and maybe don't have a car, which is very common here in Berlin, what would you recommend to go and experience that?
So I definitely have to say, please come visit me in my Genelec Experience Center. We're located right in the heart of Berlin in Münzstraße. Just ping me an email and then we're happy to host you there. And you can experience a full-blown Dolby Atmos mix on brilliant speakers in an amazing room.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, you can reach me through that onboarding form I mentioned. So if you go to dolby.com/music/create, find your way to the onboarding form. If you fill it out from Germany, it will actually end up in my inbox.
Nice.
So this is a way to get in touch. And if you are very interested in hearing Atmos, I can do the same. I'll probably send you to Eric, or depends. Or you can come to the Dolby office. We also have a Dolby Atmos room.
With Genelec.
With Genelec, of course. Actually, yeah. So it's always possible to get in touch and learn more about Dolby Atmos.
Great. Yeah. And the setup you have here, it really sounds incredible. Like,
yeah.
Thank you very much.
I've been to some immersive setups and stuff, but really, I was like, I can't even get my bass sounding this smooth on a stereo mix, let alone with however many speakers you have running.
I'm so happy that I don't have to mix stereo. Imagine to push all these elements into 2 speakers. It's just, I mean, highly respect for everybody who's doing stereo. I couldn't. I need the space.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys very much for talking.
Thank you very much.
Is there anything else you want to plug, to promote?
No, I think we
cool,
got all our messages in.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And on our side, thank you for listening, and we'll follow our social media. Everything will be in the description for all the links you guys said. And yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Amazing. See you.